Hello, so this will be a lesson on a John Fahey song called The Revolt of the Dyke Brigade. The song is in open C tuning, which is a bit different from Vestipole or Spanish. It's C, G, C, G, C, E. So 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 3. Yeah, that was a short preview or a short excerpt of the song. So I'll break the song into two different sections. One will cover this section, and then the stuff that comes after it. And I'll also at the very end cover this section. With those two sections, and they kind of overlap in some ways. Those are the two sections that cover the song. The form of the song is that it starts with that first section twice, then that second section, and then to cap it off, it goes back to this. And then he'll finish it. So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I'll start by saying that because of the tuning, the second, fourth, and sixth strings are the same. So that means you can play octaves by just fretting the same notes here, and also here. And then also, the third and fifth strings are the octaves of each other. That means that there's a really common double stop, and you'll hear me say this like a lot, so that there will be a double stop on the same two strings of either the A and G strings, double stop on the second fret of the A and G strings, or like say a double stop on the second fret or fourth or fifth of the E and D strings. So when you hear me say double stop, just know that it's basically that. So starting off, it is that double stop, preceded by a couple open strums. So the way I strum it is I'll go down like this with my thumb, flush with my thumb, then up with the flush of my pointer finger. But you can strum it any way you want. Then you do the double stop on the second fret of the A, second fret of the G. Back to the open, back to the second fret, up to the fifth fret, back to the second fret, open, then the double stop on the third frets of the bottom E and D strings, with all open strings around it, and then open. Then you come back, second fret of the A and G strings, double stop, open, second fret again, back to up to the fifth fret. So bottom, second part of that is when he goes like this. The way that section starts is you'll just walk up with that double stop, starting from open, then first fret of the A and G strings, then the second. So you kind of walk up. Then, holding that shape in that position, you do some work on the treble side while you hold a monotonous bass line on the second fret of the A string. So you'll be doing that. And then on the treble side you do this. With the pinky, if you're fingering it the way I am, it'll be a bend on the third fret of the B string, small bend up, open E, open B. Then you hit the second fret of the G string, which is held down by this double stop. And then you lift up the double stop momentarily and go back onto it. Like that. With the monotone bass line, it sounds like this. Then you almost repeat that. You play the same thing as again. But it's a bit different. First, because you don't hit it as a monotone bass line anymore, you just pluck it once. It isn't any of this. It's just... And then you'll hear that it's the same bend on the third fret of the B, and it's the same as before. You hit the open E top string, but this time you kind of do a sweep down where you land into the second fret of the G string. Open top string, open second string, second fret of the G string. It's kind of hard to control, and I have trouble controlling it too. I think the best thing to do is kind of start off light. Don't try and dig too deep, otherwise it might sound a bit jagged. Just play it as relaxed and slow as possible. So then eventually you'll just pluck that bottom string, the second fret of the A string, not the very bottom string, and then go. And then you'll lift off the double stop and play those two strings, mainly those two strings. Go back into the second fret, and then open. So to start off, to recap that a little bit, that's the first time when it has the monotone bass line. Then here's the second time where you just pluck the bass once. And then you lift off the double stop, go back into the second fret, and then open. So I know that's a lot. Just to recap that section, it'll go the walk up, monotone bass line, then here, then you finish it off just with this, which you can probably figure out with your ear, but just to confirm it, it's open, and then you go back into the second fret of the A and G. Open when you come down, it's on the second of the A and G. Open, back to the second, and then open. Now that's almost done this section. The last part goes like this. That section's done. So just to finish that up, it'll be an alternating bass on the 6th and 4th strings. Remember, those are octaves, so it works as an alternating bass. Then it's really easy. You just pluck the open top 3 strings sequentially coming down. Then with the alternating bass, so all of this is open. Then you do this. Slightly different because instead of an alternating bass, now it's a monotone bass on the A string, 5th string. And then you fret the 1st fret of the top E string, 2nd fret of the B string, and open G string. So with the monotone bass, it's alternating bass and monotone. Then you finish with this familiar lick. From the previous section. And that's really it. After that, you've got that whole section down. Last 2 things to cover are this. And then the ending, which is really easy. So now this part, when he gets to this part, it's an alternating bass of the 6th and 4th strings again. Then you go up to, on the treble side, the 8th fret of the top E string. And you kind of pluck the open 2nd string in support of it. Then you go down to the 5th fret, 3rd fret, 3, 5, 3. Then you bend the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then catch a little bit of the top string open, and then open, so it'll be. And then you repeat it very similarly, except you just sit on the 3rd fret this time, there's no bend. And then go. Adds something, he goes like this. That's the double stop again, but this time on the 3rd fret of the bottom E and 3rd fret of the D, with open strings around it. Sit on the 3rd fret, then this double stop. Then you repeat it from the first time through with the bend, and then you do this again, which you probably remember. Bend on the 3rd fret of the B, and then except there's no sweep this time. It'll just be open E string, open B string. It's kind of a sweep, but not played like, it's not that. It's not that, it's more separated. So it'll be open E, open B, and then 2nd fret of the G. All of this is with the alternating bass line underneath. So it'll be. And then he goes back into that stuff, which is from the which is what we covered. So it'll be, yeah, just this to start off. I'll recap the whole thing if that's okay, just like with the bend. Then that's with it sitting on the 3rd fret. Then you repeat it. With the bend again. And then you do this. Then the ending is the only thing that hasn't been covered, and that'll just be at the very end when you go. With that sort of signature Fahey ending, it'll be open, and then you bend the 3rd fret of the B string with everything else open, back to open, and then you repeat it a few times. And then the one way to do that strum that he does, which I was thinking is kind of like if you're playing harp or something, it's like you come down with the pointer finger first and then the 3rd. You go down about 2/3 with the pointer, then start with the 3rd finger, the 2nd middle finger wherever it lies, and then finish it off. And that's really the entire song. So hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a lot, but it's a great song once you can get a hang of it.